Hi everybody, I am Lady Stars of Fire. My real name is Michelle Espinosa, and this is the weekly healing messages for February, 15, 16, because I'm getting it out late on the 15th, through the 22nd. Now, when I'm giving you, before I get into this week, actually, I want to apologize for anybody who typically follows me and is looking for the weekly healing messages. Last week, I don't know what happened. It just apparently was not in the energy, the deck, the deal. It was not meant for that video to go out, because I made a video, but it was not going out, and Spirit was blocking it for whatever reason. So apparently some of that information was more for me than for you. So I do apologize for not having that video out to you, but we're back to normal now. Anyway, like I said, this week is for the 15th, the 16th of April to the 22nd. Now, we do have a lot of energy going on this week. There's like shifts and changes in the astrology, like every single day. There's something being retweaked, so to speak. And I'm going to get into that. And then everybody is talking about the full moon in Libra. Now, you know me, if you've been following me, I always have something to say about something. So, yes, it's a full moon in Libra, but not completely. That's because it's going through a void, of course, into Scorpio. So, it's going to be picking up Scorpio energy, not just Libra. But when I get into the astrology, I'm going to explain that. We have the Sun moving this week. We have Mercury moving this week. We have Venus moving this week. Spirit is telling me this week the energy is definitely like an 11-11 energy, or just an 11 energy, as well as stepping out of your comfort zone to a point. And what I'm getting is it has to do with that 11-11, the manifestation that comes with the energy. But really, I'm being reminded when I am doing the video for everyone this week, that manifestation energy is, mentally be aware that it is manifesting quickly right now. Now, you may not necessarily see the results right now, but this week is going to be setting the direction in some of that manifestation, and you want to make sure that you are grounded. Spirit gives me a brown and white horse, not galloping, just strolling, walking. And this specifically speaks to me of making sure that we are very grounded. But because it's a brown and white horse, it's speaking of bringing that higher, divine, or soul self down and into us. And what I mean by down is not bringing like the vibrations down. No. What I mean is, as we inspire to be better, to be closer to our soul self, to be closer to the divine energy, and we are connecting with that energy, bring that down into what is tangible. Bring that down into the physical world around you, because there's a lot going on in the world around you to not be grounded this week. And it's important for you to remain grounded and remain bringing that divine energy, that higher thinking, that higher soulfulness down into what you are actually doing with your grounded energy. Because that is going to go into that manifestation that you may be, projecting unconsciously. Now, remember, manifestation is nothing more than your conscious and your unconscious working together. And you must remember that the unconscious often is more powerful than the conscious, because you're unconscious to it. So this week is about trying to be conscious to the unconscious, so that you can make sure you're manifesting properly in a very grounded nature. Now, there are some things that we are still dealing with, and we are still having some doubt over our paths, and Spirit is saying, you've got to work through this. You have to believe, you have to have faith and know that you're going in that right direction, to have trust in your intuition as you are moving forward, and you should be feeling better about it. However, there are still, some areas that might be harder work than you really wish to have to deal with to make those proper changes, but that is part of the transition, is what they are explaining. I am given, okay, phone, I keep a lot of my runes in my phone because I post them out often. I'm given Induus this week also, which is, it's your 4, okay? Induus in the runes, the way that I do it, first off, is, with all the energy I've been saying, is you want to keep your 4 grounded, okay? Your emotional, your mental, your spiritual, and your physical. Your 4 is your 1. And if your 1 is out of balance, because all 4 aren't equally being balanced and healthy and being taken care of properly, then, my darling, so are you. Now, you want to be balancing your 1. And on the bigger aspect of this, yes, we want to balance our 1 to the oneness so that we can, like I put out in the tarot cards this week, you can hook what you want, like fishing, taking a fishing line and throwing it out and hooking a big, good fish, the one that you really want, and pulling it back to you. But if you aren't connected to the oneness healthy, then you aren't going to be hooking what you want and bringing it back. So this is connecting with our oneness, keeping our oneness healthy. Induus is. And within that, in the higher picture, connecting to the oneness in general. But you must first have a healthy oneness, or you're going to connect into the oneness, and you might be bringing back manifestation you're not really wanting. And this is why it's important. Induus speaks to us of the world of our inner experiences, our virtues, our common sense, our our family warmth. It is our inner nourishment. It is telling you to go inward and nourish yourself and separate from the outer world, technically, a little bit. Don't separate, but go in and allow yourself the time, more or less. This is healing inwardly. Withdraw to strengthen those inner resources. It is a necessary stasis of inner focus, because your 4 is your 1. Your emotional, your mental, your spiritual, and your healing. I mean, emotional, mental, spiritual, and physical becomes your 1 healing, which gets you to oneness. Now, with that being said, I'm going to jump over here for just a minute, because I am also seeing, in the astrology, I am seeing Dagaz. And that is happening on more of the 16th energy. Yeah, I pretty much only wrote it. I knew I was going to do this. I wrote it for the 16th through the 22nd, the astrology. But let me explain to you, because we have double T squares on the 16th, which is Tuesday. Now, in the astrology, I am seeing it actually written as Dagaz. It points to an awakening of enlightenment. It is a realization, a sudden, unexpected shift within the consciousness. It is the complete change. It is balance in realization. It is the breakthrough. It is inner space connecting with outer space. It is mastery of appearance and power of invisibility. But it also speaks to us of completion of cycles. It is day, dawn, and twilight. Dagaz also connects us with the god known as Loki. So it can be mischief to a point, because it can appear to be one thing, but you may find that it is something completely different. And as you work through Dagaz, you find out, I get it now, kind of thing. Now, like I said, I'm going to walk you through every day this week. I wrote it down as the day. I didn't go through and give you the energies. I went through as the day. I just was directed to do so. Now, we do have, like I said, on the 16th, which is Tuesday, we have double T squares. Now, there's a T square that's been lasting for a while, and I said I believe that it was going to last until the 18th anyway. I believe it was. And that one's been there. But tomorrow we have another one on top of it, which is going to create that Dagaz. But let me explain. The sun in Aries is speaking to Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn, and then they are speaking to the North Node right back around to the sun. This is our core. This is our illumination. This is our shine. What we want to see ourselves and know ourselves to be known as. How are we shining? What are we illuminating in our life? And in Aries, it's the beginning point. It's a beginning spot. It's a new start. It's very powerful with illumination, shining and letting you see exactly what it is. But the problem here is this T-square. T-squares are not harmonious. And what I mean by that is it's a challenge. It's a difficult challenge. It means it's something that you need to overcome. Now, the Sun is not getting along with Pluto and with Saturn. I have been saying for a while now, don't get this twisted. Saturn and Pluto are still in shadow. They go retrograde at the very end of the month. So your rules, your walls, your boundaries, what your limitations are in shadow right now. You're questioning the ability to create and move and shift these rules, walls, and boundaries because of that shadow. And it's questioning the illumination and the core and the shine that you can bring out of yourself. And then it is speaking to the North Node. The North Node is saying, yes, there's something that has to shift. There's something that's uncomfortable here. And we might have gotten comfortable in what's not working. And we need to shift these rules, walls, and boundaries. Because Pluto, when Pluto goes retrograde, it's the only sign that doesn't turn inwards. Pluto is always inwards. Pluto is death, decay, and destruction for renewal, rebirth, and regeneration. It is change itself. In Capricorn, with Saturn, these two are, coupling up right now. They're in a conjunction, and they're both in shadow, and they're both about to go retrograde. Very freaking powerful, okay? Now, this speaks to us of creating new foundations, creating, as Spirit put it to me last week, you want to create foundations that will last lifetimes. We aren't trying to work for what works right now, what is quick and easy. I want what I want and I want it right now. No. This is about redirecting everything. This is about redirecting in our outer community as well as in political arena. Our jobs and all of this that comes to us, because on the universal level, Capricorn stands for that. It's also speaking to us of, of being able to build a new foundation, making it last, doing things the good old-fashioned hard freaking way so that it lasts. I was given by Spirit, and I'm being given it again, that's why I'm bringing it up, look back to the idea of like the pyramids and all of the statues that are still standing, that are erect, that are, in Egypt, all of those that still stand. You are setting foundations that last lifetimes. So this isn't just for this life, honey. These are corrections we are making from past lives and creating to help for the new lives to come, more or less. So this is a big deal. So we are looking at this energy right now. Don't do anything fast and easy. Take your patience, take your time, and really set a strong foundation and redirect what you have to. Take the time to make sure you're doing it right. This is why I'm being given that the brown and the white horse. Take the divine energy, the intuition that you are being given, bring it down into this physical world. That doesn't mean to lower the vibrations. That means bring it down into the physical world so that you can figure out how to create it to be tangible and last. Be something that's very secure for you. Now, with that being said, like I said, that T-square has been lasting for a while, and it's still going to be going on until about midweek. But on Tuesday, on the 16th, we have another T-square on top of that. The moon is in Virgo. That's an earth element. And then we also have it not getting along with Jupiter in Sagittarius, which is a fire, which is not getting along with Venus, Mercury, Neptune, Chiron, and Vesta, going from the 12th house to the universal first house. That is what this whole week is about. We are shifting from that 12th house to that universal first house and getting our ducks in proper rows as we make that shift so that we can actually start building the proper foundations. Okay, now the moon in Virgo is very detail oriented. It's very, let me organize this. I call Virgo the virgin. I call it the lie detector too. I can't necessarily, you know how sometimes you go from, there's like you should do A, B, C, and D. But when you've learned the tricks, you kind of go from A to D and skip B and C. Virgo's not capable of that. Virgo literally, I must follow all of these rules and these details, and they must be just like so. Okay? And because of that, it's also what we call the virgin, which is the lie detector. Sees through the bullshit. That's why it's able to organize. And the moon being there is adding your emotions to that energy. But it's fighting Jupiter in the higher self, which is now retrograde in Sagittarius. And I say the higher self because Sagittarius is the ninth house, where we find our philosophy, where we find our religion, where we find our psychic energy. And you're taking Jupiter, which is higher knowledge, higher abundance, and the magnification of it. You're marinating that energy with the fire of Sagittarius in general. And Sagittarius is a mutable sign. So it's kind of like if you looked at it as like a flight. Okay? The cardinal sign is the one that's getting ready to jump on the plane and take off and go for the new future. But that's where it stops. I'm ready to just take off. I'm getting everything sorted out. I'm about to jump on the plane. And then it moves into a fixed sign, which is Leo. And Leo is like, we're flying and we're going, we're doing this thing. Okay? And Sagittarius is like, we've landed, we've arrived. Now we're ready to step into the next thing. So we're taking Jupiter's higher knowledge of stepping to the next direction, coming into that higher knowledge that comes with that philosophy, that higher learning, and all of what Sagittarius and that ninth house is. You add Jupiter, the higher abundance. This is your higher self speaking to you, not getting along with your emotions. In Virgo. Virgo is trying to tell you what things must have to be organized in just such a way. And that's because these are habits you've learned that you think must be in such a way. And your higher self is telling you no. No, it's not quite so. And that is speaking with Venus, Mercury, and Neptune, Chiron, and Vesta as it as it leaves that 12th house and moves into the Aries, the first house. So all of this energy is speaking to our higher sensitivity, because Venus in the 12th house is going to be speaking to that stuff that's the shadow, the stuff that's in denial, the stuff that's in dormant. It's speaking to what's maybe a little too close to home and uncomfortable. Okay, Mercury is the communication of that. Neptune is, are you creating from the truth? Are you creating from the past? Are you creating healthy new healing waters so that you can leave this universal 12th house and move forward? Chiron already is in the universal first house of Aries, in a place of new beginnings, new starts. The gatekeeper of wholeness is looking at what is it that still hasn't been quite fixed. What is it that you haven't figured out how to get the keys to so that you can get into your own wholeness? How can we correct this right from the beginning so we can start off? Vesta is the soul fire itself. So Jupiter is helping bring intuition and your gut feeling into the changes that need to shift, and helping you to understand you've got to step out of that comfort zone, because there are things that you've gotten comfortable with and you think that that's all that can be. You've gotten to where you're comfortable with it, and because it's not exactly the healthiest thing, you're not moving forward because you're comfortable. You've allowed yourself to think this is the best it can be, and that's not true. And Jupiter, your higher self, is asking you some of those harder questions right now. So you have to move forward. That is the energy of the 12th. But understand that moon in Virgo, which is detail oriented, picking things apart, also looking into the diets of you, in general, it's getting along with Saturn. So it emotionally is willing to make these changes. It emotionally is is it's giving you an opportunity of, there is new rules and walls and boundaries. There is shifting in that limitation. There are those changes spiritually, soulfully, that you can make in your outer community that will get you where you want to go. This is there. The North Node is also getting along with Venus and Mercury. It's the two T squares which are making you believe it's not exactly possible. And right there is where Dagaz lies. Now let me go back one more time. This is why I did this. Dagaz is a points to awakening of enlightenment. It is realization. It is sudden, unexpected shifts in our consciousness. It is the complete change. It is balanced realization. It is that breakthrough. It is where inner space connects with your outer space. Like I said, we're being told the horse, the brown and white horse, you need to be grounded and bring that divine energy, that soulful energy down into you so that you can tangibly start to create and manifest as you move forward. You may not see it this week, but it is helping set the direction so that it's possible. It is mastery of appearance and power of invisibility. This is a shift that is going to hit you, but you may not notice it right off at first. This is why I said, tap into your inner feelings, tap into your inner gut. And I don't know how many times I can tell you all, there is a misunderstanding. Sometimes that gut feeling does not mean that you should not do something. Sometimes the gut feeling is fear of knowing you can. And understanding when the gut is saying, no, 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 this is some bad shit and we don't want to do that. Versus, oh, maybe I really can. And because of that, I'm uncomfortable. Because that's change. You've got to learn to understand that gut feeling better so that you know which one is right and which one is wrong. Now, like I said, that's the energy that's coming in on Tuesday. On the 17th, which is Wednesday, you still have that T square with the Sun, the Saturn, Pluto, and the North Node. Because like I said, that's been hanging out for a while. But you have the Moon is now moved into Libra. And it is sitting on top of Make or Maki Maki. That is the lotus flower. Most people are not going to be speaking to you of this in astrology because they don't go into these other planets or comets or asteroids. I'm all about them. Maki Maki is, or Make, however you want to see it, is the lotus flower. It speaks to us of the lotus flower's growth. And we ourselves are the lotus flower. Okay? We must first rise up out of the dirty, murky water. We must first get ourselves healed and start to rise up out of the shit that we think our life is in. That is basically what this is meaning. That muddy, murky, dirty water. You must first rise above it and then start to break through where you are actually breaking through and coming out of that water and coming into the light. And once you finally get that far, well, why stop? Keep growing. Keep reaching for the sky and blooming. The question with Libra and the Moon and Maki Maki, or Make being on top of each other is, where are you on the growth of the lotus flower? Are you still in the muddy, murky water? And if so, why? Why haven't you allowed yourself to bloom? What's keeping you from blooming? Then, if you're starting to break through, good. Keep stretching for the sky. Keep going for it. Because you're going in the right direction. The Moon is going to be in Libra, which is automatically going to be asking us about justice. Which is automatically going to be asking us about, balance and harmony. But the Moon's funny that way when it's in Libra. This is also dealing with your relationships and where your relationships stand. And I've been saying all last year, relationships were going to start taking a turn this year. This is where they're starting. The Moon in Libra isn't about balance, justice, and harmony. It's about showing you where it's not in balance, justice, and harmony. And then you connect that with where you are on the lotus flower. And then you connect that to your relationships. And I don't know how many times I can tell you guys, your relationships are not just relationships with human beings. They are with your friends, your family, your loved ones, your children, your spouse, your family. But they are also with your work environment. They are also with any and everything you care about. I cannot say enough times, when you no longer have a car, you know about your relationship with that car and the lack of it. Same with money. When you have a relationship with money and you have none of it, you know all about that relationship. Anything in the world that you care about that is important to you, you have a relationship with. And the moon is going to be specifying to you right here where you're not in the proper harmony and balance, and where justice needs to be created. So look at yourself, look at the situation within the relationship, and is the relationship, where is it in the growth of the lotus flower? Is it in the muddy, murky water? Why? Is it starting to stretch up to the sky, or is it finally stretching to where it can bloom? This is the idea of what you need to understand. It, though, again, is not getting along with Pisces energy, with Mercury and Venus. It wants nothing to do with it. And it is shifting into that energy that's moving into Vesta and Chiron in Aries. So it's coming from one cycle to a new, from an end of a cycle to a beginning. It is going to be speaking to the communication of what is happening in these relationships, about what's in denial, what's in dormant, what's been hiding in the closet, what is the sensitivities that make you uncomfortable. It's going to be speaking to you about, all of that understanding of what Venus is. Venus is not love. Venus is your sensitivities. She is your emotional sensitivities, your spiritual sensitivities, and your physical sensitivities. When you put your hand in a hot oven cooking at 365 degrees and you burn the shit out of your hand, that is your Venus saying, no, don't do that shit. But when you also have your warm, furry blankets or your candles and the scents that they smell, and you're like, that's also your Venus. Your Venus is telling you what you like and why you like it and what hurts and why it hurts. She gets deep in there, and she's going to be communicating that energy within those relationships. But it's not a positive energy. It is up to you to create it to be a positive energy, because it's in opposition. It's not comfortable. And in order for the Chiron in this energy, the wounded healer, the gatekeeper of wholeness, to be able to help you, you have to be honest. So you must get to the heart and soul of Vesta, because Vesta is the home and the hearth of who you are and what you can't get rid of, because it's who you are, baby. Now, with that being said, we move into the 18th. Like I said, I feel very sensitive about the 16th and the 17th. Very sensitive about it. But there's a reason for that. Because as we are approaching this full moon energy, this is why that stuff was coming up. The 18th is not exactly a grand square. It doesn't fit for a grand square quite exactly right. Okay? A grand square is definitely what we call some freaking challenges. And there's some empowerment to learn. There is some illumination to learn, to inspire, to rise up to. But this doesn't fit exactly right. What it actually is two T-squares back to back on top of each other. But they look as if they're almost a T-square. I mean, almost a grand square. But they're slightly off. So that energy is not quite as powerful as a grand square. However, I'm still calling it to that energy. Because if you're expectant and you're able to know the incoming energies, you're able to work with them and shift them in more healthy ways to move forward. So I'm still calling it this way. This is still the sun in Aries, still speaking to Saturn and Pluto and Capricorn and the North Node. That is your first T-square. Like I said, it wasn't going to disappear quite yet. And again, that's your rules, your walls, your boundaries. Setting new limitations, deciding if you're taking the chance. But this is in shadow. So this is bringing up where the rules, walls, and boundaries just aren't set quite right, where they're working against you. And where they're not helping you illuminate yourself, where they're not helping you step into your full authenticity, where they're not helping you shine because something has to shift. This is part of that energy. Now, what's happening on this day is the full moon is on its first day of the full moon, where it is in Libra. And at this point, it is moved to where you're adding the moon's energy. You are having the inner moon of your relationships, speaking to the core of who you are, speaking to your outer community and your jobs, your careers, your philosophies, no, not philosophies, your political arena, all of this. And what is the major shift that has to happen? I told you the relationships within everything you care about is not just like your home and your family, your children, your loved ones. It's everything you care about. From your job. When you have no job, you know about your relationship with that lack of a job. Okay? Your moon is being added into this energy on that full moon. So it's amplifying what needs to change. Okay? It's also, the moon is sitting on top of Pallas, and it is sitting on top of Haumea. Pallas is Athena, the warrior goddess. She's the freaking goddess of strategy, of strategic thinking. Listen to the moon. Listen to your intuition. Listen to the inner waters from within. Listen to the connection of it and your higher self. Because Haumea is your collective consciousness, babies. Okay? It is not getting along with these energies, but it holds the key. It holds the key because Jupiter is not in this energy. I mean, it's in the energy. But as far as the grand square T-squares on top of each other goes, it's not in this energy. So that moon with Pallas and Haumea, strategic thinking, the warrior goddess, relationships, emotions, depths of who and what you are and why, and your collective consciousness speaking to all of these is kind of like Jupiter speaking for. Jupiter's coming through the moon in this energy. Like I said, it's the sun speaking to your core, speaking to your illumination, speaking to your inner shine. And are you being seen for what you want to be shining for? And if not, why? That has everything to do with those rules, laws, and boundaries being set incorrectly, and what limitations you think have to shift or you think aren't capable of shifting, because it's all speaking to the North Node. And the North Node in Cancer is talking to the core of whom and what you are. You have to learn that the soul must be free to breathe. Ego will always try to shut it up, because ego's afraid of change. Allow the soul to speak. It will help you to know where these shifts need to help you illuminate yourself. So you are illuminating everything in your life and being able to make these proper changes. But they will be uncomfortable. It will be something that you will have to step out of your comfortable zone about. Like I said, this is the first day of the full moon. Now that moon in Libra with Pallas and Haumea, like I said, kind of comes in with that Jupiter energy. It is getting along great with Mars. And Mars is in Gemini. So this is speaking to those that are close to us, like our small destinations, the small situations that are close to us, really, really close to us, like home, like the trip to the store, the communication on your phone that you have every day, your family, your siblings. This is those close to us energies, and it is bringing opportunities for these to make changes, for these to make positive and healthy shifts. However, it does square Neptune. So there is something there, an illusion that is not quite what you believe it to be. And once you start to realize that you can change that magic of Neptune and bring it into a healthy new start. But you have to understand that is not getting along with Jupiter. Jupiter is going to be questioning everything that comes out of your magical creativity because it's still in that universal 12th house. Are you sifting through healing waters, or are you sifting through the waters of what used to be and never might have been quite as good as you want to pretend they were, you want to believe they were? It's time to make changes and move forward. We don't want to walk backwards. Now, Friday is the full moon. But here is where everybody's getting it wrong. The full moon takes a void of course into Scorpio. Midday. I think it's like noon. Okay? So in the evening of that full moon, you're actually in Scorpio. This brings a whole new level of intensity to the full moon. Okay? The full moon is still going to be having the energies on that day, Friday, of both Libra and Scorpio. Okay? Scorpio in the full moon. You feel everything twice as much. Your emotions are happier or way more angry and way more sad. You feel happiness, you feel joy, you feel the lust for life and the beauty on a whole new intensity of highness and yay. Or you feel the betrayal twice as bad. Scorpio is intensity of your emotions because it is the birth, the death, and the rebirth. It is the transformation that must take place. That's basically what Scorpio brings to the table. But Scorpio is also like, I like to call Scorpio a sexy Sherlock Holmes. It's all about the investigative purpose. So you can easily overtake the energy and take it into overdrive in a very negative way if you're in a negative spot. And understand, you might just need to step away from the situation because you might be creating that manifestation like we were said in the beginning of the week. You may be taking, your investigative qualities into a whole new bad negative way because this is the full moon. As it goes from Libra to Scorpio, you will be talking about relationships in one form or another because that's what Libra and Scorpio are about. But Scorpio is also about how do we rebirth them? How do we resurrect, regenerate them? How do we rebirth and bring new fertility into it so that it is a brand new start? And it does get into the uncomfortable positions of what must happen for that rebirth, that regeneration to take place, more or less. In this area, like I said, it's the full moon, with the moon coming from Libra, where you're looking at harmony and balance and justice, and then going into oversensitivity. Now, if you're in a good spot, then you're going to be feeling really freaking great. But if you've been going through a lot of difficult changes like most of us have, this may hit below the belt. But it's meant to hit below the belt. Because it's meant to hit below the belt because it's forcing you to get where you need to get to make those changes go the way it has to. Alright. But it, again, that full moon in general is not getting along with the sun in any way, shape, or form. It is not getting along with the sun, which is in Aries, because it will have shifted then. It will, is on the cusp of that, is on the cusp of Aries going into Taurus. But it will also be fighting Uranus. Uranus is your independence, your individuality, your uniqueness, your freedom. It is the rebel within. It's where the oh my God, shock and amaze just happened. And your sun is stepping out of the universal first house and into the second house with Taurus, because it's on the cusp. So it's taking the illumination core of who and what you are, and it's starting to pull into its energy self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, and marinate it with Uranus's independence, individuality, uniqueness, and freedom. It is not getting along with this full moon. And like I said, the full moon is going to be speaking to us of Haumea, of Pallas, the strategic thinking, our collective consciousness. It's not going to be getting along with our who we think our authentic self is. Our higher self is trying to teach us that you have an idea of who and what you are. You have an idea of your authentic self. There's so much more there that you don't see yet, you little beautiful thing. And it's not getting along with this energy because you're more powerful and you're more beautiful than you know you to be. But you have to learn that, and that's what this is about. Again, it'll be questioning rules, laws, and boundaries in Saturn and Capricorn, and how we make a proper, healthy foundation that lasts lifetimes. What shifts and changes has to happen for us to get there. It's also having a chain reaction, though, that day with Jupiter, Lilith, and the Sun. Lilith is, ain't nobody going to make me do a goddamn thing I don't want to do. I'm not going to do a thing I don't want to do. And it's in Aquarius, which is already in the rebel. And this is a positive chain reaction. So this is saying, listen to that inner, like I said, the moon is standing in for Jupiter here. The moon is helping you connect with this Jupiter higher energy and bring it to your grounded self so that you can eventually create the tangible life you're trying to create. There is a very positive chain reaction. Jupiter is magnifying Lilith this time and saying, if I don't want that, why the hell am I going to do it? Why do I have to do things I don't want to do in life? I mean, why do I have to... you can't make me. And maybe sometimes it's not about being a narcissist. Sometimes you need to be a little selfish enough to get to the truth of what you desire and helping that bring your illumination out. Sometimes that uncomfortability forces us to move in the right direction. That's kind of what this full moon is about. Now, on the third day of the full moon, you have it actually in Scorpio. And it is in a water trine. This is positive energy. Scorpio's full moon, taking on all that sensitivity, all that investigativeness, all that rebirthing, and it is speaking to Neptune in that universal 12th house. Now, Venus is also moving into Aries this day, so now it's just Neptune left in. Just Neptune will be left in, in Pisces, in this universal 12th house. And it's powerful here because it's where its home is. So it's speaking to us of understanding what needs to rebirth, with no more other planets there to fuck up your head, more or less. Okay? It's giving you a true understanding if you're willing to tap into the truth of Neptune and its magic and speak to the North Node. So it's helping redirect you in a more positive way, giving you an opportunity to move forward as long as you keep yourself positive about what you have to do. Okay? And the sun and Venus will both be now moved in on top of Taurus, on top of Uranus, speaking to you from that universal second house, backing up what you need to start seeing about your self-worth, your self-value, your self-esteem. So it is helping to get you in that right direction. On the Sunday and Monday, the 21st and the 22nd, the moon moves into Sagittarius, bringing it closer to Jupiter, which is in retrograde, your higher self, on top of Ceres. Or maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong. Ceres. This is the threefold theory, love. This is the too close to home feeling. This is the nurturing. And where are you being nurtured? Or where the hell were you not nurtured properly? So that we can make corrections in the lack of proper nurturing and start to put them into a healthy new direction. That is what this is all about. How do we nurture ourselves? Because we must first nurture ourselves before we can nurture the world around us. Because if we can't love ourselves, what kind of love are you able to give anyone else? And it is going to be speaking to Venus, Mercury, Chiron, and Vesta in Aries of how to create new starts. So this is a wonderful energy. Might still be touchy because you're learning stuff about yourself that you have to overcome that might really exhaust you. But it is a healthy, healing movement forward. But it is going to be questioning Lilith, because Lilith is about ego. And as we move away from ego, and we move further and closer to our higher self, we get closer to our authentic self, Lilith is going to have problems with that. Okay? And she will be giving that touchy-feely, I don't want to make the changes. Trust your intuition. Trust your higher knowledge. Trust your higher and inner knowing. Don't worry about what ego has to say. Ego is only fighting you because it's seeing if you have a chance. It's trying to test you into seeing if you actually are ballsy enough to be the powerful person that you are. I love you. Hugs and kisses to everybody, and I will see you next week. And please, please, please subscribe to Otherland Dreams anywhere that podcasts are provided, where we talk about anything magical, spiritual, and healthy, soulfully healing. I love you guys. Bye. Oh, FXPG Public Radio. Bye.